everyone! Welcome back to the channel. It's Erika, and I'm so glad that you're joining me once again. So we are on our third spread of our 100 Heads challenge. And as you can see, I have been sketching up heads in advance. That way we can speed up the process. I'm so proud that I've been quite consistent. This is one of the longest that I've been consistent in terms of returning to my art. I've suffered quite a bit of an extra long burnout since I studied in an art school and worked in the industry. I cannot begin to explain how difficult my burnout was, to the point that I didn't even want to do art at all. The only art that I ever did was teaching. Teaching kind of brought me back to art, but in terms of doing something for myself and not for my students, I never got to until today. So for our painting this session, I decided to go back to the basics. I think I jumped too quickly into colored, and I think I need more practice, which is why I'm reverting back to monochrome to practice my values. I'm not quite used to gouache as my painting medium. I think starting out with simple values like this will help me build color and hopefully will speed up our progress. I'm happy with this painting challenge, to be honest, because going back to my burnout, I think I suffered burnout the minute I graduated from university. I feel like I poured my heart and soul too much into the work, to the point that I lost a part of me that's so important in creating my artworks, and that's originality. Especially when I started working in the industry, it just felt like I was a factory that had to produce art constantly. You're a brainless machine that's producing backgrounds, characters, and anything and everything that a client asks for. And I know that that's really part of life. You have to do things that you don't want to do to make money. But I think I pushed myself too hard, to the point that I just couldn't do anything for myself anymore. I was just so used to people giving me things that they need me to do, and I work on them. And then when it comes to me doing things independently for myself, I remember suffering from just staring into space, if not staring into the sketchbook. Like I have my whole workplace set up, ready to paint, ready to draw, ready to sketch, whatever. And I just couldn't bring myself into finding something to draw. Even copying was difficult back then. That's why I knew it was burnout. And I think that's what teaching kind of helped me with a little bit. I really enjoyed teaching. I taught art to kids because I think in some ways I saw my old self in them. How quickly they're able to build ideas, create new things out of their own minds. It's something that I've been wishing for myself, I think. So here I have been playing around with the old method, but this time with just two colors, black and white. I've been playing around with my values and testing how I can build the layers to make one area pop or sink one area to kind of sculpt her face. I think I get so much, or I feel so pressured when I paint beautiful women. I just find it so stressful because later on you'll see how fast I will finish the man beside her. It's just so much easier. But when you're trying to make something pretty, I think that's what kind of stresses me out the most. But at the same time, it's a challenge that I really enjoy. For this painting, I also wanted to test if it would be better for me to use round brushes. If you'll notice in my previous paintings, I mostly use flat brushes. The flat angled brush is usually my favorite go-to when it comes to watercolor, no, not watercolor, maybe gouache and acrylic, as well as oil. There's another kind of brush that I really love. It's called cat's tongue. In Italian, it was lingua di gatto, because I studied in Sicily for quite a while. I studied oil painting there, and that's what my professors kind of forced me to use until I got used to it. But it doesn't really matter what kind of brushes you use. What matters more is what you're going to be comfortable with in the style that you're going to go for. I really love cubism, which is why I really enjoy flat brushes. But I wanted to see how I would do in terms of painting with round brushes for this one, which is why I tested it out as well. I think that's the beauty of this challenge. I get to explore without limitations. But I think over time, once I'm more comfortable with the medium, I'm gonna set limitations in terms of time. Not to make myself speed up or anything, it's more of just to stop myself from overthinking and getting rid of perfectionism. Alright, on to the second head. I almost forgot to press record, to be honest. So this time, I will be using flat brushes. My favorite flat angled brush from Etcher Labs. This is not sponsored in any way whatsoever, okay? I paid for my own things. I mentioned it because people will ask, and quite frankly, it's hard to find good flat brushes, especially angled flat brushes. So going back, I prefer using flat brushes when it comes to creating portraits or painting with gouache in general, because of how you could just put random strokes and they kind of build up over time. I mentioned many times before that I love cubism, which is why I think I fell in love with flat brushes as well. I love how I can make random strokes. It seems like I'm just making random strokes, but as I layer the paint on top of the other, it kind of creates that 3D look without me forcing it to look like it. Like, I don't get too frustrated right away. So for this head, I tried experimenting with extremes. So I started with my quote-unquote lightest shades, setting the values of where my lightest shades are, and then I set my darker shades to kind of redefine the facial features that kind of went missing. And then after I'm happy with the dark shades, I start creating in between the tones of the colors, and then from there I build it up once again. So setting 2 values, and then I do the mid-tone. Setting another 2 sets of values, and then I do the mid-tone. That's kind of how I kind of tried to build the colors and the layers on top of the other. And I think I kind of like this method because it's a lot faster. But we'll see and test out some more to see how it will work. Maybe it just worked for this painting because of his facial features. I don't know. Compared to the female head earlier, I never got frustrated with painting his head. I actually quite enjoyed painting his head. It was my first time painting someone bald, and I was worried about how to go about making him look bald, when technically I think the reality is it's a lot harder to paint hair. So I was worried about painting old people because of their wrinkles. I didn't know how to go about it when I was sketching this out. And then I realized, since I've been using angled brushes, having those strokes kind of creates the illusion already of the wrinkles. And using the flat angled brush point, I'm able to create clean lines to, again, create illusions of the wrinkles of the old man. So I'm really enjoying this, and I think I'll try to paint more old people. I'm excited to try to paint one in color, but for now we'll stick to monochrome because I need a lot more work on my values. Hopefully this will help speed up my progress, and we'll take it from there.